Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm here to teach you about basic cybersecurity. I've been a startup technologist for my entire career, and I was part of the technology leadership team at Obama 2012. When I'm not doing this, I'm working on a thriller novel about Marco Polo. Problem with anything about security is annoying. It gets in the way. It stops you from doing the other things that you want to be able to do, and you only realize the importance of it when you have a problem. It's a necessary evil for sure. Sometimes it's seen as insurance, but in the political world, it's just necessity. If you want to see some great examples of what can happen when you don't have cybersecurity, you can read the Mueller report, because it's full of them from beginning to finish. Everything from emails being hacked, to campaign tools being taken advantage of, to massive breaches of security throughout social networks. It's all there, just a cookbook waiting for you to dig into. In most small to mid-sized businesses or in your daily life, cybersecurity risk can feel very theoretical. And in that world, there aren't a lot of people that are coming out just in order to get you. But that's not true in politics. You not only have to deal with threats from scripters and the day-to-day risks of cybersecurity, but you also have to deal with opposition attacks from people who are really out to get you. You also have to deal with attacks directed by foreign governments and other foreign actors. This isn't just tinfoil hat talk. Foreign governments' interference in political campaigns are not new, and they aren't limited to presidential campaigns. If you are running for anything above Band 1, it's virtually guaranteed that you will be attacked, and not just by script kiddies, but by well-trained professionals with years of cyber warfare experience. And the consequences of cyber attacks are non-trivial. They can range from being unable to accept campaign donations, to having your website rewritten to contain false or malicious claims, to having your data stolen or otherwise modified. Phishing attacks begin with messages that are usually spread by email or can even be sent via social media. They include a link that generally includes some kind of malware that can infect your computer. Think about the emails you may have seen from a Nigerian prince who just needs your help to launder millions of dollars in the United States. But the attacks you see in political campaigns are a lot more sophisticated. A phishing attack can result in your own machines being compromised and your own data being leaked. And a related attack called a spoofing attack involves emails sent that look like they came from you, but that actually reach out to your constituents with a misleading or false message. Malware is malicious software that can be used to spy on you, steal your data, empty your bank account, or even shut down your entire computer and hold it for ransom. A lot of malware is designed to spy on you and to be able to steal the data that you have access to. And in a small political campaign, most users have access to all the data. So an infiltration of any one computer can bring an entire campaign to its knees. An eavesdropping attack involves somebody on a local Wi-Fi network who is able to listen in on the traffic between your computer or your phone and anything else that's going on in the campaign. This can easily happen in coffee shop Wi-Fi, airplane Wi-Fi, or airport Wi-Fi, just to name a few examples. Another kind of attack is a distributed denial of service attack, or DDoS attack. This involves an attacker using a bunch of machines that they have already taken hostage in order to attack your network. A real-world example of something like this would be if you suddenly got 100,000 customers to appear at an airport ticket line while somebody else was trying to check in and board. The simple congestion of the system is such that they can't get anything done, and that can happen in the computer world as well. Imagine what would happen if on a critical fundraising deadline, suddenly hundreds of thousands or millions of computers all started hitting your pages at the same time and brought your entire service down. Another kind of attack that is relatively unique to political campaigns is data poisoning. In this scenario, an attacker would try to corrupt your voter file database in order to make you make bad decisions. An example of this would be something like a volunteer coming in and marking every persuadable voter as dead so that you wouldn't reach out and contact them. And these are not the only kinds of cyber attacks that are out there, although these and many others have already been tried, in some cases used very effectively on political campaigns. In 2016, for example, there was a malware attack on a DNC server which seems to have been sending data directly back to Russia. John Podesta's emails got hacked by a phishing attack, and many others. We started learning about names like Fancy Bear and Cozy Bear and Guccifer 2.0 and names of other Russian state and private actors that were all involved in direct attacks on US elections. There are three basic categories of things you can do to stay safe. First, and most obviously, make sure that your campaign staff is trusted and that only trusted people have access to your resources. Second, you can implement some basic network hygiene and security protocols. And third, implement some basic staffing controls. Humans are always the weakest point of the network, but training often does little or nothing to stop attacks. These steps need to be sent immediately to your team at the beginning of a campaign. This can ensure that hacks of personal information are less likely. Secure messaging apps, such as Signal, Wickr, or WhatsApp, encrypt all messages from the point at which you enter them into a phone or computer system until they're received by the other side. This gives you a lot of security against eavesdropping. Unfortunately, the only protection against phishing emails is informed users. Tell your users frequently not to click on anything they don't recognize from anyone that they don't know, and when in doubt, delete the message. To protect against data poisoning, data theft, or even just a lost laptop, it's very important to take frequent backups of your data and encrypt those backups before putting them in the cloud. One of the most basic and easiest protections is just using strong passwords. Using my password or a birth date isn't good enough. You need combinations of letters, numbers, uppercase, lowercase, and punctuation. There are lots of great free password generators that you can use. And don't worry, you don't need to remember those long passwords and you don't need to write them down. You can use a password protection app like LastPass or 1Password or Keeper. Two-factor authentication is another really easy way to keep a lot of applications safe. Everybody from Google to Facebook to Twitter all support some form of two-factor authentication. And all it means is that when you log in, you don't just use your password, you also receive a message on your phone or other personal device. This means that even if your password is stolen, your account is still relatively secure. Another really simple, stupid rule is just don't write anything down that you don't want anyone to see. No passwords, no personal information, nothing that you don't want appearing in the headlines tomorrow. When possible, use iPhones. This isn't a product endorsement, it's just that the default iPhone configuration is pretty secure compared to an Android device. Androids can also be made to be secure, it just takes a little more knowledge and work. You should always use an antivirus or anti-malware package. Malwarebytes and ClamAV are free, easy-to-use packages that you can download off the internet. Campaign network hygiene are basic fixes that you can make in order to keep your computers and network safe. If you are going to use public Wi-Fi like in a Starbucks, an airport, or an airplane, there are some other free tools that you can use, such as open source VPN tools like BetterNet, or secure messaging apps like we discussed before. Another big thing is just to be aware of your surroundings, both in public, whether you're sitting in a coffee shop, or when you have people in visiting your campaign headquarters. Think about what you're talking about. Think about what people are hearing. Think about what's written on the whiteboards because they are taking pictures. The security lead in your organization should be a top-level person reporting to the campaign director, just like the head of field or the head of technology. Set clear goals with them and make sure that the right protocols are in place. Although hiring a dedicated, qualified security expert may be out of reach for many campaigns, even having an employee who is moderately technical, whose single job it is to enforce these basic rules, can benefit you immensely. Unfortunately, there's no such thing as perfect security, but these basic protocols and efforts can make hacking and otherwise disrupting your campaign extremely difficult. At the very least, they'll make it so that the attackers will go on and attack a more vulnerable target.